contact. The intentional infliction of harmful or offensive contact. That's battery. Intentional infliction of harmful or offensive contact. Now, what is offensive? Offensive, because we have an or here, doesn't necessarily mean harmful. Offensive can mean exactly what it sounds like. An attack on someone's dignity, embarrassing someone. It's offensive. And that offensive contact can lead to a battery. So it doesn't mean that in order for battery to exist, you have to take a bat and whap it across someone's head. It could mean that, and obviously by that, the person would be injured, and there you have harmful contact. It could be throwing feces, dog feces at someone. It's not going to hurt them, hopefully. It's not going to hurt them, but it will definitely offend them, and it's definitely contact. And that leads to looking at what contact means. When we talk about contact, we're not necessarily talking about one person touching another. That would be the most obvious. I punch you, and then, there's actual contact going on there. Well, it could also be a bat, like I just mentioned. A bat whaps you across the head. Well, that's going to be harmful, and it's definitely going to be contact. That bat is an extension of me. Okay, what about throwing feces? Well, that's a projectile that's originating from me, from my actions. The contact of that to the person is going to be the same as if I took it and smudged it on them. I know this is kind of gross, but I want you to envision that it's not just something connected to you, that it could be something that you're throwing or making or propelling, which means a gun, a bullet. If someone shoots a bullet, that bullet is contact with another person. Even though you're not the one actually sticking the bullet inside of the other person, the sheer fact that you pulled the trigger means that a harmful contact will occur. And of course there's the intent to inflict that contact. Now, not only talking about what kind of contact is brought about by the person, it also can be what is being attacked on the person who's the victim. If I take someone's purse and run, and that purse comes off of the woman, then that is contact. Things that are an extension of the person can be contacted in the same way as if the person is being touched directly. So that means things like purses, wallets. It has been attempted to extend to cars, to things that you are in, although it just depends on the state that you're in, on how far that theory expands. But the general example is a purse. A purse is right on you, and if someone takes it, they may as well have contacted you. The purse is going to be an extension of you. The thing with battery, which we'll distinguish from assault in a second, is that awareness is not necessary. The plaintiff, the victim, does not have to be aware of what's going on. So, here I go again throwing the dog poo at someone else. Well, if it's hitting the person in the back, That person doesn't have to be aware of that fact at that moment for it to be battery. Awareness is not necessary. And we're also talking about any consequence that arises from the battery. Any consequence, even if it's unreasonable, unforeseen. You throw the feces at someone, it hits them, and they're like, oh my God, oh my God. And they're just, throwing it off them and just completely fixated on the fact that that just happened. They walk backwards, and 2 seconds later, they get run over by a car. They went onto the road because they were too busy trying to get that off of their shirt, and they get hit by a car. Guess what? The person who threw the poo is really in trouble now, because what looked like a little bit of harm, a little bit of irritation, has now gone to the extent of that person being dead. The funniest thing with torts, in any attorney who practices personal injury, but of course any law student who's just come out of learning about torts, is a sudden awareness of just how simple things can get out of control. Practical jokes, just being mad at someone and doing something that seems harmless but would actually amount to battery or assault, as we're going to look at in a second, how that can transform into something really bad. Really bad. And that goes for the transferred intent idea also. You're aiming for one person, and let's say another person gets hit by the dog poo, and then suddenly you have this third person that you never intended on hitting suing you for battery. Not even something negligent, but an actual intentional tort. Damages for intentional torts pretty much exist by the sheer fact of the battery itself. So the harm is assumed. It's just a matter of how much are we going to see. How much is this person going to have to pay for their actions? Assault is a lot like battery, except the contact is an imminent or apprehension of imminent contact. And let me read it out for you. It's the intent to cause apprehension of an imminent, harmful, or offensive contact. Intention to cause apprehension of an imminent or offensive contact. So the two words here is apprehension and imminent. So with assault, we're not talking about someone getting hit by the feces. Rather, we're talking about someone who sees you're about to throw it. The victim, or the prospective victim, is shocked. Oh my God, I can't believe you're about to do that. Sees that it looks pretty likely that you can follow through with it. And even though you're not actually throwing it, at that point you are liable to the victim for assault. Apprehension. Apprehension does not mean fear. Apprehension means knowledge or understanding. The woman who's about to get hit doesn't need to fear the fact that poop is going to be all over her. She just needs to know, to understand, to comprehend that it's about to happen. That is sufficient. So don't think that we're talking about fear here. We're not talking about someone, oh my God, I'm about to get killed. The threat itself